just have a few couple of questions that just need to be addressed. This one for the COVID. Now, you have said that the youth have suffered a lot. Some have lost jobs, and when a youth loses job, is when he has started to maybe pay rent for the house, and maybe the landlord does not trust him. So, at what point does my first question is at what point does the church now see that this youth need to be helped, and how does the church come in and help this type of a person? That is one of my questions. The second, can I just ask all of them so that the second question is now the setting on boundaries. You talked about setting the limits. When the limit is too harsh, people can decide to walk away. Now, because you are in a church setup, how do you walk away without hurting the other party? Like, for example, maybe, nowadays it's not like the other times whereby you live with your parents, so kupeleka your chick kwa nyumba, it was so hard. But siku hizi ni easy because kila mtu amejikaisha. So when this chick anasema nataka kuja kwa nyumba yako, mama anasema hapana, my kingdom should be just left clean as it is, but she insists, then maybe you say no, so then maybe akakasirika. So how can you make it like that easy enough aelewe this is your boundary, na hata kama mnaachana so peacefully, ndio maybe on a Sunday morning when we meet again bado tunaweza salimiana, lakini ile relationship yetu ilikuwa imesha kufa. Then another thing, you talked about healthy boundaries. You talk about there's that one for strict boundaries, there's that healthy one, and there was that one for compromising. What is this healthy boundary? Just in detail, what is it, so that we really know? Because I only know about two. The strict one, yenye kama ukisema inji hatuendi, hatutaenda. So then another one, I'm nearly finishing them. This is the last one, I think. The last one is, at what time do you set these boundaries? Do you set them when you are in a relationship? Nikigundua uko na hika mistake, tunakaa chini tunasema see, or at what stage do we decide and say that now let's come, kila mtu akuja na kalamu yake, we write all these boundaries together and say this is it, we should not cross this line. Others, thank you.
Thank you so much. Madam Alice, I don't know if you're able to get all those questions, you address them. Thank you.
I think the first one on help from the church, I'll leave it for Reverend to answer. But I'll talk about the boundaries. And I had mentioned 3 types: the rigid, the loose, and the healthy boundary. In the rigid boundary is where the result, you are very strict in setting your boundaries, and you stand by it. And in that way, you're going to lose many friends. You're going to keep your friends at a distance because they know Collins has said, I'm not talking to you at this time, and it remains that. Collins has said, I'm not going to greet you by handshake. I'm going to ask you to raise my hand, and it remains at that. So with a rigid boundary, people are going to avoid you. People are going to keep away from you because yours are very strict. Boundaries are to help you, and even now, as you associate with others, they are able to understand you and know your limit. And in the loose boundaries, I can give example in the loose boundary. You talk about yourself and you talk a lot of details about yourself to somebody else. That is a loose boundary. Things that they do not deserve to know about you. but you've emptied yourself to them so much. Or you are so, let me use the word kind, you are so kind that everybody borrows money and you lend without even looking at who is going to pay you back and who is not going to pay you. Yani inamaanisha you are into their problems so deep. So you are caring about others' problem than caring about your health, especially the mental health. And another thing is you seek to please other people than to please yourself. So that is a loose boundary. A healthy boundary is in between. If it is sharing information, you share just important information with other people. If it is financial boundary, you lend to somebody you know, you've already studied, they are going to pay you back, and they are going to honor their request. If it is about intimacy, then you've talked about intimacy. Kama hata nikukutembelea kwako, ama a lady has said no to coming to visit you, you obey that boundary, because that is her boundary. Now usikasirika about it, and your relationship with that person should continue. So a loose and a rigid boundary are there to help us, and we should realize that if you go to two extremes, they will hurt you personally. Losing friends and losing people around you, and you've seen people being left. Ya kwamba huyo hapana, huyo hatawezi kaa naye because hamtaongea, hata kupea kitu, hata kusalimia, all that. But a loose one, utaona sasa huyo loose ana compromise, following other people's boundaries. Ama anafuata yale watu wengine wanamwambia afanye than even keeping his or her own boundaries. So that is about the rigid and the loose and the healthy boundary. The other question was, at what time do you set these boundaries? Setting boundaries starts very early. And we usually say, and I think my colleagues will concur with me, as early as adolescent. Because as young children, they do not know all that. But once you reach adolescent, you can start setting your boundaries. And once you set your boundaries, you are allowed to add other boundaries as you interact with people. You are allowed to revisit your boundaries as you interact with people. Because you cannot set some boundaries, like financial boundary, you cannot set so early unless ukutane na mtu ulimpea pesa akakunyima, akakataa kukurudishia. That's when you realize, this person, let me set my boundary with this person. So we encourage parents to help their children start setting boundaries as early as adolescence. And in the medical field, adolescence starts from 10 years and over. Early adolescent, middle, and as they grow. I think my colleagues will add on that. Anything that I've left, I don't know.
Probably there's a question for Rev before they add something.
Yes, the question was asking what the church can do in a case where the youth have lost their job and they are traumatized. One formula of getting help is that it needs to start with the victim or the person who needs help. If you realize that you are having a problem, it is easier for the church to come in if you are the first person to realize that you need a help. But sometimes if it comes from me, it comes with assumption. And those assumptions brings the rebellious attitude that how did I know? Did I talk to you? I talk about you with somebody. How did I know the issues pertaining your life and yet you have not shared with us? So as a church, we'll really want that let us have our office as a free office where you can walk in, you can share the challenges that we are going through, and then now maybe after you have shared, we can use the church network or any other help to let you be helped. But it must start with you. It must start with the person who is feeling like he's traumatized, the person who is suffering, so that it comes from you. If it comes from me, I can call you in my office, I can talk to you, and you decide not to listen because you are wondering why is your problem becoming mine, and so you don't want to cooperate. But when it begins with you, it is easier to be solved. So always, we will always say that find help, look for help, call for help, walk in the office, share your challenges, share the pains that you are going through. Sometimes our office is very good that even if you can't do it physically, you can always pray. And we believe that God answers the prayer. So it will really look good if you come. But if I come, even if I had it, I will be a source of rumors, and you will term me as somebody who is infringing into your privacy and who is malicious in my approach to life, because I know people's life without them sharing with me. But we'll really want that, let you come, let you share out, let you call for help, and then it will be solved.
Thank you so much. I think I'll invite our next question. Yes, Cynthia?
Okay, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I have a question on stigmatization. For example, if I was infected by COVID, nikakuja kuchukuliwa huko nyumbani na ambulance ikanipeleka hospitali. So nikirudi nyumbani after nishapona, watu hawataki kunisalimia, hakuna mwenye anataka kunikaribia. Yani people see me like something like a ghost. How do you deal with it?
Mr. Osu?
Thank you for that question, and it's so sad that stigma was very big when the issue of COVID was starting, and we appreciate it is the time, it is something very new, and it was just getting us by surprise. And probably there is still that fear in the minds of the people that we live with because of lack of knowledge. But I believe with time that stigma is eroding, since people are getting a lot of information, and sadly, more people are being affected and infected by the COVID. But the fact that you've recovered, it is evident enough that even for them, they can get the COVID and get well. I believe as at now, all of us are either affected or infected in some way. You know someone who got COVID who was very close to you or the likes. But sadly, there are people that went through stigma. I'd suggest that as an individual, you seek therapy so that you are helped to deal with the effects of the stigma that you got. To your neighbors, a lot of information sharing, a lot of engaging with community healthcare workers who can come and just talk to them so that they are aware. But I believe as we are exposed to information, all of us will reduce the kind of stigma that we expose. Yes, working in the hospital, and I believe also Mrs. Opuko can attest, even for us as healthcare workers, who are stigmatized because vile tu nilisema kwanza tunajipenda, everyone anajipenda kwanza. So we kujiexpose kwa COVID alafu upate COVID uende, unajua sasa ni familia yako itakuwa ina lose. And that is why there was stigma. No one wanted to associate with a person that has COVID. But pole pole, when people are recovering and the way the vaccine has come, people are getting injected and they're recovering. And information flowing, I believe pole pole your stigma itaisha. I don't know if any of the panelists can add something to that.
I think as you've said, there are ways of coping with stigma, and if somebody is going through stigma, they need to come for counseling so that we see the best way they can cope with stigma. There are several ways. As an individual, we look at your strengths and your weaknesses, then we take you through the process of coping with stigma.
Thank you. Moses?
Boundaries. For instance, kupata job, and this boss anataka ku elevate, anataka kupanisha cheo, but what the boss asks, maybe mkutane naye kwake, mfanye vitu kadhaa, 2 3 hivi, alafu utapandishwa cheo, or uachane na hiyo story na left, yani usionekane kwa premises zake. Number 2, kwa pale chuo hii ni cut umepatiwa na mwalimu, then mwalimu anakupatia ni kama dare. Is either akupatie marks mzuri na kulingana na vile atakwambia, or akuachae tu na yeye. Now to the church ground. Yes, mmekutana na msee, mmeongea 2-3 hivi. Yes, in relationship. Then imefika point ni kama you're used. How will you handle that situation? Used in this manner, when msee kuleta msee church, anajua wewe msee unakuwa committed sana, so anything that she asks or he asks atapata tu on the moment. How will you handle that situation?
Madam Grace, I don't know if you got the questions.
Sorry, the last part.
The last part.
Yes.
Church ground. Relationship. Yes, mmeanza tu na msee, amjakaa sana, but in 2 weeks or probably a week, msee ameanza kuingia kwa line yako, as in ni kama anakutumia. For instance, anataka kitu fulani place fulani na wewe hujaienda huko. Ukiingia huko ni kama unatetemeka kidogo. Ukiitisha hiyo kitu umeitishwa, hata wewe mwenyewe unastuka. Kwa sababu unapatana na sura zingine hata zinakustua tu.
Okay.
So anakuambia hii vitu icheze tu chini. Vitu tu icheze tu chini. Okay. So how will you handle that situation?
All right. Thank you very much for the questions. The first one, you talked about a boss, whereby they want you to maybe honor their interests so that you can be elevated. Even as you are going to start that job, I tend to think that there are set rules for your working, as you work. Where are you supposed to work? How are you supposed to work? How are you supposed to handle your boss? And even you may ask yourself, if I give in, will I be comfortable myself? Even as I work with this boss, will I be comfortable? And if I give in, will it be a routine that every now and then, when he wants me to advance to the next level, it will be the same? And you can even be asked for a favor, and yet if you give in, that boss will not elevate you. So those are the things that you need to weigh, even as you give in or not giving in, because there are boundaries. This is my boss, yes, but you have to choose, consequences. You have to choose, do I give in for me to be elevated, or do I decline and remain where I am for my own boundaries and my own values? So that one you need to maybe work it out. Or would you look at the money first, then your values goes down? You need to ask yourself those questions, because I don't want to say you say no, or I say you say yes, because it all depends with the value that you attach yourself to that job and to yourself as a person.
On that, probably I may say this.
Yes.
What if you take your own turn?
My own turn?
You take your own turn, as in this manner. Yes, umekuwa kwa hiyo job na the case has just arisen, na saa hizo tu ndo umepata simu ingine to other place of work na yes ina offer good money lakini haina hizo vitu zote zingine. Yes, utakuwa ni kama tu casual worker, and yes pale hivi ukianza kulinganisha pesa kuna vile hii pande wacha tu niingie tu kwa hii. So if you take your own turn, then you switch to the other work. Bado inaweza saidia.
Bado hiyo itakusaidia?
Bado inaweza saidia kwa sababu pale kulikuwa na hizo shughuli ya if you want to be elevated, then you have to follow what I have to say. Kuja kwangu, fanya vitu 2-3. Yes. Pale hivi kwingine umepelekwa na msee. Umeshaongea na boss, umeelewana na umwambia hivi unafaa kufanya, so unafaa kuangalia boundaries zako na ameshakwambia hii ndio pesa. So yes ulikuwa unaangalia pale hivi pesa kuna vile kanaweza ongezeka, na hii hapa hivi ukiangalia yenyewe kuna ile range alikuwa ameweka pale ni kama yenye unapata hapa. So if you take your own that pia inaweza saidia.
And on that are we talking of the same boss?
No, they're different.
They are different. Right? So the choice is yours to make, whether you want to give in so that you can be elevated, or do I stop working for this boss who is demanding and then I go somewhere else. And remember, even when you are employed, there are those terms, yeah? So you follow the terms of employment at all cost. But you have a choice depending on the boundaries and the values that you have. That's how.
Yeah.
Then the next one you said about the student, I think that one we covered. We talked about running to the dean of student, and also the other people who are within the offices, admin and all that, so that you can be helped.
Upate hiyo shule yenyewe kuna vile kuna zielewani, unajua kuna ile kabila.
Lakini, let me tell you, like Rev said, there's the issue of the dean of student. A dean of student is supposed to take care of the welfare of every student, regardless of where you're coming from, regardless of your caliber, regardless of who you are, whether you are big or small. So the dean of student is there to facilitate your welfare and your well-being. So hakuna cha ukabila. Na kama kuna ukabila, then you can go to the next level. Yes.
Thank you so much. Asante sana for those questions. Now moving on to Jimmy. Maybe a question that you have to the panelists as a young man. Yes.
Yes, still on boundaries. I was asking, what can I do if the other gender's boundaries don't favor me in terms of intimate boundaries? Kama zinifevi na unapenda huyo mtu utafanya nini?
Noma sana. Maybe Victor atazana na hiyo.
Maybe I answer that. It depends with the kind of boundary that you have as an individual. Maybe wewe unadai na yeye hataki. Unajua hapo you are not compatible. So hapo hakuna vile ita make. So wewe unatembea tu. Lakini remember that history yote na tukizungumzia stories za boundary tulikuwa tunazungumzia relationship kwa church. And that is why we usually say we were agreeing that date a person who's in church, because the probability of compatibility in terms of boundaries ziko karibu, zinakaribiana. Hata kama ni kucompromise ni kidogo sana. Lakini kama huyu anadai, huyu adai, haiwezi make. Na kama wewe kuna vitu unataka na yeye hawezi kukupatia hivyo, na vice versa. Kwa sababu imagine umemfanya akakupea alafu uende umwache. Cause now unajua objective yako ya wewe kudai na bado hamjamariana. Inamaanisha wewe tu unataka hiki kitu, kisha malizana naye unatembea. Unaona? Saa itakuwa poa. Maybe adjust.
Asante sana. Kwa hivyo kama wewe unadai na yeye adai, tembea tu. Next. Cynthia.
What are some of the challenges that come when we are setting healthy boundaries?
Challenges that we face when we are setting up boundaries. Maybe to Alice.
Thank you for that question. Actually, there are challenges that you might face when setting up boundaries, because at first we talked about some rejection. Some will not like your boundaries, and you'll feel some people rejecting you or even not wanting to be close to you because they do not agree with your boundaries. But as an individual, because you've set your boundaries, then you become consistent and stick to your boundaries because you know your values and you know how you value yourself and value everything about you. Another challenge is that some people do not understand about boundaries, and now we're educating people about boundaries. Because some will say, huyu msichana ni wa maringo, kwani hata hataki kitu fulani. So people will label you, people will give you names because they do not understand about boundaries. But I thank the youth department because they have come up with this issue. We've been teaching the young people to set boundaries. Now, because of that, people will label you. Na watasema wewe ni maringo. People will label you ni mchoyo. Hapeani pesa, ukimwomba hata shilingi 50 she will not give you. But because umeset boundary yako ya kwamba hii 50 inanitosha tu mimi, leo nahitaji kununua unga. So why should I give you? It means when I give you, I'm compromising my own needs to you. So inamaanisha I'm now favoring you and even going deeper into your needs than my own needs. And people have done that. People have given what they have just to look good to them and retain that relationship. Then they compromise their own mental health. So you need to do that. Though the Bible tells us differently, share. We share because you remain with some that will give you, but give out the rest that you have in excess to somebody else. Another thing is that you might lose friends, as I said. Some will look at you and say, no, I think I do not match with her because you've set your boundaries. They do not understand kwamba they are boundaries. They are seeing you now, you have changed to somebody different. So they will do all those things. But when you set your boundaries, we said, be ready for such events. Be ready psychologically for such events to face them. And you face them with confidence. You face them as you continue. But when you set boundaries, remember again, you're not going to create enemies. You're supposed to remain as friends with those people whom they feel that you have great boundaries or you've put tight boundaries. So remember all that when you're setting boundaries, that you'll meet challenges, you'll meet rejection, people label you, be ready to face that. But if you stand firm, then they will understand you. They will be saying that, huyo, usi cross njia yake, hata kubali ile unataka kufanya. And that is what we want the society to be. Kwamba if they come to you for an advance or an intimacy, and you say no, the word will go kwamba that girl does not agree easily to, such she has her own principles. So that is it.
Maybe I add something, if you can allow me, to what Mrs. Opoko has said. There is usually a conflict between id, ego, and superego. And since it's a new behavior and a good behavior that you are trying to establish, naturally as human beings we gravitate towards doing the wrong things because they are easier to do than the right things. So you tend to find id will always tend to make you do the things that are selfish. Then the ego that try to balance between doing that which is right. Superego is now being the extreme. So ukijaribu kufanya the right things, initially you will have challenges with maintaining or being consistent. But as we are told, behavior is developed within 7 to 14 days. If you do the same thing over and over again, Maybe you want to be waking up early as a healthy boundary that you are setting for yourself. Maybe you want to be managing your finances and having a budget. Sticking to that budget in the initial days might be a challenge. But when you deny feeding the id and you feed the ego, then pole you will gravitate towards accommodating your new behavior. So that consistency might be a challenge, but with time, then you balance out.
Thank you so much. So ukwe psychologically prepared that you'll face those things. So moving on to next.
Okay, thank you. Hello everyone. Well, a lot has been tackled and most of the questions have been answered. So I would like to put more emphasis on both the boundary and there is also a subject matter we were discussing there before during that discussion on COVID-19. The subject matter was how to come out clear to your parents whenever you delay in graduation. So there is this quote that says, lies have got speed, but the truth have got stamina. So you better be honest and come out clear. At the end of the day, it will work well for you. So the other one is about boundary. And by the way, in reality, boundary, you'll come to notice that boundary is so vital. I've seen people losing jobs. I've seen people foregoing opportunities, basically because boundaries were not attended to. So, boundary. There is this quote, a proverb that says, the power that sets off an aeroplane is the same power that will sustain it on the air. On the air or in the air, okay, wherever the preposition that it is used. So, we as mostly nimeona hii challenge kwa ladies. Once you decide to give in at the beginning, just bear in mind that that same power, you have to sustain it until the end. So it's upon you to choose whenever in that initial stage, do I want to sustain this power for me to keep sustaining the opportunity whenever ni kazi, ikwe contract, ikwe nini, opportunity, whatever that it is. So my comment this evening, I'm just emphasizing on those subject matters.
Thank you so much for emphasizing on those points. And I would ask now the final guy, Bazu hapa, as a malizia, and ask our specialist a question. Yes, thank you.
Good evening. Maybe ask a question or two. Where I come from, we rarely hug people. And I don't remember hugging my mother or my father, my sisters. But now, nikuja town huku, naona kama hug is like everybody is hugging. So you go somewhere and watu wamepanga laini, so you're number last. Kila mtu anapigwa hug, so as so you are there, you are preparing. Ujui kama you will open your arms ama utafanya nini, because hujazoea. Now when you ukiamua upeni hug, then you decide to shake the hands ama nini, watu wanaona ni kama like kuna maringo or something. So how do you handle such? Because nimekuwa nayo shida, because hujazoea hug, by the way, because nimetoka ushago huko and tumezoea tu salamu. Then something else, and nilikuwa nimesema I'll never give like a bribe or something, but then I was arrested. I remember ilikuwa hiyo curfew 8, and then so I was arrested by the police nikitoka job, and then tukazunguka nao kwa gari, wakanizungusha London, so tukazunguka tu. Now they are telling me like, usipotoa kitu unajua utaenda kotini Monday, and that was on Friday. So I imagine kulala cell, ningoje paka Monday niende court, na wananiambia unaweza fungwa kwa sababu we are not the one who set those rules. Ni president alitangaza kwamba na wewe umepatikana nje and you are guilty. So sikutaka kwenda court, so niliwapatia kitu wakaniachilia. And so my question is there a point where these boundaries are violated? Yeah, kuna hiyo point yenye umeset ndio, lakini kuna mali na kufinya kidogo. So what do you do ikifika hapo? And then the last one, kuna hii family boundaries tumeongelea hapa, and kuna historia pesa. So you have these people wanabezoea kukopa pesa, they never pay back, and their brothers, your cousins, even your mother. So wakikuja wanasema like, we'll pay back. So wasemi wasaidie pesa, watu be like, give me this money, I'll pay back, but they don't honor. Yeah, so inafika mahali paka unaona kuna na conflict hapo, because wamekudanganya na hiyo pesa hata unaweza mkopea mahali, but then so unabaki na madeni, wewe ndio unalipia madeni za watu, because hata wanatumia that emotional, kuna ile emotional manipulation. They are a family, like huwezi niacha hivyo, I'm your brother, like. So how do you handle such? Yeah, thank you.
Asante sana. I think we've asked 3 questions. Hiyo ya kwanza ni ya kuhug. Maybe I'll direct that one to Mr. Victor. And then the other one was about bribing, kutoa hongo. Saa zingine unapatikana in between a rock and a hard place. Unashangaa utafanya nini? Just to the next. And hiyo ingine ni ya pesa ya family. Mtu anakuuliza pesa umkopeshe, but they do not honor your agreement. Na kwanza especially maybe your mom amekwambia please give me some money, by the end of ndakurudishia, hata semagi by the end of what, I will return it to you. So how can we safeguard our boundaries concerning those things? That one will direct it to Rev. Thank you.
Thank you. I was hoping ningepata hiyo swali ya pesa, but it is okay.
Unaweza tu ipitia tu. Unaweza ipitia.
But yeah, it's a bit odd, and it will really make you uncomfortable, because now everyone is doing it, but they are saying you're not doing it. As I clearly stated, boundaries have prices that you ought to pay, and the earlier we know your boundaries, in terms of maybe when you are communicating and people know, Jere apendangi nini, apendangi hugs. So hata huyo mtu kama anakujua vizuri, by the time now they are approaching you, they know you when it comes to hugs, wewe ukuangi hapo. Ama pia unaweza devise some techniques, kama ni mtu akujui, maybe ujifanye umeshika simu, wewe uko kwa simu hivi, unajua yani wewe ufind true kitu kama unaona you are not comfortable with that hug. Maybe that is what I'd say, but hiyo kidogo my colleagues can guide. Talking about your issue of family na do, I have a friend who was just sharing. The sister alimkopa 200k, akamtumia 200k, lakini by bad luck ile unaonanga ni kama banka haijatuma, akarudi akatuma 200k ingine. So unaona hapo hivi ametuma 400k. Then kutoka hapo pesa yake hairudi. So kuna na a lot of conflicts in family. So for me, I usually say, pesa yenye unapatia family member, patiana tu pesa yenye yani unaweza achilia. Patiana pesa yenye unaweza achilia. Kwa sababu kuexpect especially ukipea madhe pesa alafu expect akurefund, yeye amekulea na hajai kukuitisha refund, inaweza kuwa tricky. Maybe hivyo ndio mimi naweza sema hiyo story. Pass it to Grace.
Thank you very much for answering the two. The other one nimepewa iko sawa. Bribes. Jeremy is asking, should I spend a night in the cells or should I give kitu kidogo ndio nitoke for my freedom? Sometimes our boundaries are compromised because we want to have that comfort within ourselves. Jeremy, as he was sharing, he said, I imagined the cells, I imagined 2 nights, because that was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Monday you go to the courts. It was not an easy thing. What is bribe? Maybe we can begin there. What is a bribe? A bribe is something that you give in return of a favor. So when you are giving this money, are you like the one for sales? Are you seeking for a favor, or you're paying for your own freedom? Is freedom a favor or is part of you? So inakuwa tricky sometimes, very tricky. One day I was arrested for overspeeding, and I was going for a function in Naivasha. It was a church function, and because I think I was a bit late, I wanted to hurry up before the service begins. So nikajipata nime overspeed, but I didn't know. So nikasimamishwa na askari. We were with my son, and they told us, unaona hii, this was your vehicle. Just a speed of over 7, yeah? With 7, yeah, highway. So I was torn between going to church. Imagine I'm going to church, or waniweke kando, niwalipe whatever I'm to pay, then I get my freedom. Ilikuwa changamoto, but I told them, what is a fine? Because they said, tutakupiga fine, but you have to go to the police station to record and to report so that you can go on Monday and all that. So on my way, I asked them, is there any other way? See, bribe. Is there any other way we can settle these so that even if, because it's a Sunday, koti ni kesho, ili nipelekwe kotini. But on reaching the police station, they said, apana, you will pay. It was not bribe. So sometimes we may ask ourselves, because they were telling me, if you don't go to the police station, you'll pay 5,000. Koti ni kesho, ili nipelekwe kotini. But on reaching the police station, they said, apana, you will pay 3,000. Nikamwambia mimi sina hiyo pesa as of now. I'm going to church. They said, is either you pay ama to retain your, to shike your vehicle mpaka kesho, or we take your license. Already wako na license, we are not going to give back your license. So I did what I could. Nika call a friend, and then money was sent. I paid and I got my license back. So was that bribe or was it payment?
Ni tricky.
Because I was in the police station. It was not. It was not bribe. So sometimes we may ask ourselves, because they were telling me, if you don't go to the police station, you'll pay 5,000. But if you go to the police station, you pay 3,000. So which is which? You know, they are also in a mix. They do not know what they really want. Sometimes we compromise. We want youth, or my son, to a particular school. And because I want you to go there, as a Christian, I compromise my value. Sometimes. Because I want you to go. sijui iko wapi, unasema sasa hataenda huko. But am I buying that position? That is a bribe. But if you go and talk it out, I think that is not a bribe. But boundaries are affected by bribes. That is what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I think the question on bribe and fine is not easy to handle. But do you know that sometimes you can use psychology to defeat the police? Because they use the psychology to arrest you. We were also once caught in the speed. We were doing 70 when we were supposed to do 50. At around 7 in the evening, we were going home. Then we were taken to the police station. Then we told ourselves, wacha tujaribu kama tuko na watoto na kila kitu. Wacha tujaribu kama tutaenda kulala kwa cell, tuone kama tunalala kama familia. So we went. So the moment we were in the police station, tukafungulia watoto, and you know how messy the children can be. Chezeni huko bado tumeshikwa. They played as if they had reached home. Hawata hawakujua kushikwa ni nini. And then ikifika evening, the police came, mama, unafanya kazi gani? Mimi ni pastor. Na huyu mzee anafanya kazi gani? Sasa huyu ni bwana wa pastor. Hakuna mtu mwenye anaweza kuwasaidia ili mpate pesa. Tukasema polisi, sisi ndio huwa tunasaidia watu. It is people who call us to help them. So there is nobody that we can call. Wewe kama tutalala hapa tutalala tu. Then after 20 minutes the police say, because you are pastor and you are a family of pastors, imagine police giving you 200 shillings and then mulipe sadaka, munilipie sadaka. Ndio Mungu hata atusaidie. Unajua hii kazi ni ngumu na saa zingine tunahitaji neema ya Mungu. But I don't say that it always works. So sometimes you use the psychology. Because we are so much in a hurry, we want to pay fast. With the police take advantage of that. And always, and even the lawyers will tell you, ukinigonga gari hapa na wewe umetoka Nairobi, and I decide that I'm going to court. Because unatoka Nairobi utasema sitakuwa ninatoka Nairobi kila siku kuja kwa koti. Wacha tumalizane. So this hurry that we always have, can we always do it in a way? And I remember Archdeacon, there was an Archdeacon that was also caught because of the speed in Molo, and then she insisted that I want to go to court. Na saa hiyo amebeba akina mama huko nyuma na wanapiga kelele wasiende kotini. But then she just decided, let me face the fine because I am the one on the wrong. And then they were going to court. And then as they were going, then the police comes and says, no, mchungaji, it is not good for us to do these things. And then the mchungaji says, it is also not good for me to pay the bribe, but I must pay for my offense. If I'm on the wrong, I must pay for it, and I can do it. So sometimes it works, but what works with you? What is your conscience telling you? What do you think you should do as a Christian? And it's something that you will value. The last question that we were asked about borrowing money. Borrowing money is very funny. But have you ever realized that people who come to borrow have convincing power? Yani mtu somebody has just arranged words suitable for you that you unajikuta tu umeingia box. But one thing that I have always done that works for me, if you have a problem, I don't allow my emotions to go with your emotions. Hata kama unalia, mimi sili. And I won't want to see the reason why you are crying. I want to listen to what you are saying, but I don't want to get into what you are feeling. Because I've realized that getting me to feel what you are feeling is a way of minting money from me. If I remain emotionally stable, then you will realize that you are trying to convince me, and it's like I'm realizing that you are lying to me. And because you unajishuku, you know, when people doubt you, like you say, when people doubt you, also doubt yourself. And that is where you get it. And again, if somebody comes and wants 200K, you know, it means you are moneyed. But can you just lower it, like, I can't get 200 shillings K now. What I have and I'm promising to give you now is 5K. I have it cash. Unless you give me time to process that, but unless you also promise me how you pay it back. People who want money sometimes, who do not pay back, people who do not pay back most of the time, do not want you to wait. They want it right there and there. And can you make a mechanism of letting them wait? And if it is a family member, you always work with their psychology in that disappoint them. Disappoint your family members. They know that I am working, they know that I might get them, they must get money from me. But then just make them that they don't get money from you at one point. So that you are not a fallback plan every now and then. Don't be so easy. Just disappoint them. Be selfish. Somebody is looking for 10K, is like, Mama nakwambia, Kenya women wako hapa, all those things. Stay cool. And tell Mom, I don't have money now. You get me? Understand, that is the boundary. Make her stand. Next time, if she is looking for money, she will give you an advance notice. She will tell you, I am seeing myself having this problem. Will you mind helping me? And then now you will find a way to negotiate. People who are in a hurry to borrow money, they are always not in a hurry to pay it back. And they can borrow, and they can borrow. Some of us are very weak in that. Somebody can borrow and borrow and borrow, and you don't click. So that is why disappointing people is also necessary. And again, give the littlest amount, the lowest. That is like unamchekelea. So that the high hopes that the person has inakuja, so that next time akikuja kukuomba pesa, hata kuwekea madoido nyingi, because it's like we are not so much moved with the emotions. And always give what you are able to lose. Always give what you are able to lose. It will help you. Unakuja unataka 10K, mimi nimekupea 500, hiyo ndio niko nayo. Hata ukikaa bila kunipea. And again, let me tell you, those who do not pay money, you give them the little amount of money, they won't pay you back. And you will block them from coming again. Do you know that is how you, by the way, that is how you make your friends. Somebody comes, he wants money, you don't give them the 5K, you give them 1K. And then you give them, like, they will return it for me. When they are coming back, good people or good borrowers who do not pay money, the first time they borrow you, they will pay you immediately. Check at the rate at which somebody pays you back your debt. If he or she comes immediately, akikuja tena, don't give. There is likelihood that he's not going to pay you the next one. Hii ya kwanza ni kutengeneza jina. Be careful. So if he comes the first one, peana kidogo. Wacha aende. Akilipa, unashukuru Mungu, anasema, hapo Mungu amenionea. Umepata pesa yako. If he or she comes the next time, because the first time she came and got, it is not always obvious. Ati kwako ukikuja watu wanapata tu pesa. So disappoint the person. If you disappoint them, you will be off the hook. Always try to chezea watu psychology. You may be having money and they really need you to help them, but disappoint them a little bit. Shusha roho zao ziwe chini, anataka pesa nyingi, unampea kidogo, anaenda kinungunika. But you know you are safer. With that, after sometimes, you won't be a victim of borrowing, because they will know that people who borrow also sometimes they lose a lot of lies. So they will realize that it's like you've realized their lies, and they won't want to be caught. So that is how you do. But sometimes, if you give your mother money, I don't know whose mother gives back money. But sometimes they don't give. If you are giving, just give that, Mom, I'm giving you money. Tell yourself that I am giving my mother this money. I'm giving my brother, I am giving my sister. The good news is that brothers and sisters, we know their characters. Haitushtui. Unajua mama alipangi pesa. This is something that you don't need somebody from Gishagia kuambie. Your sister you know very well. So you do use your little wisdom and create your little boundary so that you don't walk in debt because of other people. Mimi kuna siku nilikopesha 50 bob. And that is the only money I had. And then I followed up. Nilienda tu kwa jirani. I was a student. Nikienda ninapata mtu amekula nyama na yuka 50 bob. Hapo niliumia. Imagine mimi nimekula mboga. kwa sababu amekuja akaniambia mtoto ni mgonjwa, anataka kumpea mtoto dawa. Mimi nikampea 50 bob. You know when you are a student, 50 bob is a lot of money sometimes. And I'm giving because the child is sick, wacha tu apate matibabu ama apate dawa. Then I'm just following up nione mtoto alipata dawa, anaendelea aje, akini napata nyama. I felt so bad. So sometimes people who are using, and that is where I got some little wisdom. So sometimes people will come, they come with a lot of lies, and unaumia. Wacha hata wao pia waumie. Unakataa tu na uko sawa tu. There is nothing wrong. Because you have to behave, you have also to be very wise. You don't need to be manipulated. You don't need to work on other people's interest. It is your interest first. Thank you so much.
Asante sana. Na disappoint kidogo. Thank you so much. Back to Brenda.
Thank you so much. I think we have come to the end of our session today. Thank you so much, our panelists, for having us. This is the only way we realized we can actually get the youth to speak out. They're able to speak up, and you now understand what we mean when we're talking about open hearts. This is how we've been doing it, and I know we will invite you people from time to time, depending on the discussions that we will be having. So in a minute or less, kindly mtupatie parting shot tukimaliza. Tuanze hapa kwa Mr. Uso.
Thank you, moderator. It's been a privilege engaging you great people, and for the audience that has been watching. I sincerely appreciate it. My parting shot is, there is help, especially for those people who are attending the Cathedral. There is help for you. Seek it. We have a department of counseling headed by Mrs. Opuko. You can always see her or see Rev, and we are here to help you. And when you seek therapy in church, it is free. When you come out there, we are charging 2,000 per session. So you choose. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victor. Thank you, the Youth Department, again, for having me also. It is quite a privilege to have one-on-one talk with you. And I've also been able to learn a few things from you people. It's not only that you learn from us, we're also learning a few things. And like it has been said, it is always good to seek for help, and we can change our behaviors and the way we perceive things all the time. That is my parting shot. And may God truly bless you, and always remember to seek that help. And that help that you are seeking is in confidential. That is what I wanted to pass it on to the youth here and out there. Thank you so much. God bless you.
I want to take this opportunity to thank the department.
Be a principled young person.
And like it has been said, it is always good to seek for help, and we can change our behaviors and the way we perceive things all the time. That is my parting shot. And may God truly bless you, and always remember to seek that help. And that help that you are seeking is in confidential. That is what I wanted to pass it on to the youth here and out there. Thank you so much. God bless you.
I want to take this opportunity to thank the department for giving us a chance to come and share what we have. And actually we've shared even, we've heard from you, and we've also been educated. But my parting shot is that take charge of your life. Control your life. You are the manager of your own life. Be it the stresses of life, manage them. If you're unable to manage them, seek help from a professional. And when it comes to boundaries, set boundaries and sustain them. Be a principled young person. God bless you.
Amen. Be a principled young person. My short is, when you are walking in a forest and you are lost in a forest, There is no need you go round and round. Mark every tree that you pass so that it helps you to get where you have walked. If you are in the church, God brings people in our life that are able to help us move to the next level. Always mark people that can help you and seek help from them. Stop looking at a church as an enemy. There are some people in the church that just mean for your good. Sometimes they don't have just opportunity. We have a lot of people that can help us. Can we become a family? Can we look at people with their value, not the assumption that we have probably because of our background? I would want that let the office of the youth be a free office where you can walk in with your issues, we can share issues, and we can walk to the next level together through prayers, through fellowship, through Bible, and even if there is nothing, just being friends. Kupendana tu bure, si ndio? And then we just move together. Most of the things that you are going through, believe me, we had gone through them. Ni vile tu hatutaki kujianika sana, but we have gone through them. But sometimes if you come to me one-on-one, I may tell you what I have gone through personally that I might not say in public. So find your time, come to our office, share. And if it is beyond us, we have counseling. If it is beyond the counseling, we have a variety of people in this church. We can make use of them. God does not give us people for nothing. God brings us to a place and brings us to a people for our own benefit. Let us take advantage of that, and on it all. Hata kama ni ngumu, there is nothing that is impossible with God. With God, all things are possible. Don't give up. There is always another time to start again. Thank you.
Let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, Jehovah Father, we humble ourselves before you, Jehovah Father, Lord, and we glorify your holy name, Jehovah Father, for this amazing session that we have just had, Jehovah Father, Lord. And as we are about to depart, Lord, may we go out there, Lord, and may we go and spread whatever that we have been taught today, Jehovah Father, and may we utilize it. May we be able to utilize it in our lives, Jehovah Father, Lord. In Jesus' name, I pray, believing, and trusting.
Amen.